All right, what's going on, party people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Pop Talk. This is your man, Professor Nims. I'm signing on with the Casual Rand,
What up, though?
Coach Dave,
Huh?
and Boston Jared.
Peace.
We are the Pundits of Pugilism. Thank you for rocking with us tonight. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We're not going to get too much into setting up this contest. We want to jump right into the content for this week, and we're going to react to this weekend's, which was a pretty lively weekend when it comes to boxing. Boxing has really kind of seen a resurgence that I'm here for, and it's kind of led by the little guys and so supported by the by the so-called giants. And so we're going to start off with one of the burgeoning stars of boxing, and that is your man Gervonta Tank Davis, who was able to secure a eighth round knockout. So Frank Martin was counted out of your boy Frank the Ghost Martin. I thought it was not a star making performance, but the kind of a star affirmation type performance that really solidified Tank Davis as one of the faces of boxing. Probably one of the more exciting fighters when it comes to those who are within the top five of the pound for pound, along with NOA and Terrence Crawford. But I thought it was I wouldn't say it was his best performance, as Paulie Malignaggi had quoted, but I thought it was a very sound performance. He was kind of smart. He had a game plan that he stuck to and was able to kind of execute it, and basically gave the crowd what they wanted. So we're gonna start with the Casual Rand because he hasn't been here in a while. The sayings of Casual Rand was a common theme for a lot of our shows, and the people want to hear from you. You represent the casual kind of segment of our audience and stuff like that. So tell us give us your impressions of Tank's performance.
Man, man, I think that car to me it catapulted him back up to the top five pound for pound. Before the fight, man, a lot of people could say that he didn't fight anybody. He wasn't active enough. Then they found ways or excuses to keep him out of the top 10 pound for pound. But this Saturday's performance, man, you can't deny that dude, man. He wrecked Frank Martin, man. And Frank came in with a good game plan and touched Tank up a little bit, but I don't know what Derrick James was telling him in the corner, but like the last 3 rounds, he kept getting caught on the ropes, and I was like, why the hell are you going on the ropes? But like his Frank Martin's post fight interview saying that he was expending a lot of energy, like moving during the first half of the fight. So he was like, look, let me settle down and try to time this, and that was just a bad plan at that
Too
point,
late.
man. It was too late, and then he was getting on the ropes, and I don't understand what he thought he was going to do when he got on the ropes, because you can physically see that Tank punches was causing damage every time he threw. So going on the ropes was just a bad idea for Frank Martin. Tank had hats off, man. That dude looked every bit of the top five pound for pound boxers active today.
It looked like he was trying to catch and shoot off the ropes, man. The problem is Tank is so careful and calculating with his punches, and he don't throw a lot of punches. But when he does throw, they're well-timed, well-placed, very, very, very sharp punches, man. It's tough to catch and shoot with a guy like that, man. He's very, very quick. He's defensively very, very sound. But yeah. Sorry, Cam. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. One thing. So if I'm being hypercritical, I thought I think from the first round on, Frank Martin's left hand was able to touch Tank Davis right now. His cheek was swollen up, and without too much of a problem. Part of it was just the physical dimensions. He's a bigger, longer fighter. And to me, and I want to throw to the coach, I thought a little bit had to kind of deal with Frank's overall kind of inexperience at an elite level. I thought he fought scared from like the first round out. Like the guy was reacting to everything, and then when you're really tense and you're reacting, that kind of wears you out. And I think that he didn't really have a choice, and Tank wasn't kind of pressuring him with punches or even with kind of footwork like Loma Chico and Usyk does. He was just kind of walking towards him, and it was just
no jab neither. With no jab,
he was just walking towards him, and Frank Martin just was, really gave him a lot of respect. But I thought that I thought from the first round on, I thought he fought scared. Do you agree with that, Coach, or do you think that he was just being very cautious against a power puncher?
Yeah, well, bro, I think he came in. So yes and yes. I think he came in there cautious at first, Cam, like you said, bro. But honestly, I think he was fighting scared too. And then another thing too, man, which I think would be a difference if like Tank does fight Shakur. For whatever reason, man, I think Frank Martin gave up a little bit of his height and reach, man, by fighting so low and crouched down. You know what I'm saying? And from what I could tell, you know. But I just kind of want to piggyback everything that the casual one said, man, and even where Boston that came in at. Look, man, Tank probably could have stopped this guy earlier, bro. I'm be honest with you, man. He was throwing that jab a little bit to the sternum, but when that scared cat got into the corner, where a scared cat would normally fight back, whatever, this cat shelled up. But then Frank rained down, like Boston said. This guy's fast and powerful in both hands. So you cannot be in the corner against this guy when he's attacking. In regards to also you saying, one of the things that I like that did happen to Tank is I guess it was about around the 7th round. Frank caught that cat with a solid brick hand, straight left. I mean, he hit. I don't know if it was the 7th round, but he hit Gervonta with a solid straight left. And Tank backed up from the force of the blow, and he shook it off, which tells me I don't think Shakur Stevenson hit as hard as that on Frank Martin. I just don't. But I think Shakur is a longer, taller, more skilled fighter with those pestering jabs, that could kind of open up some stuff to where Tank can get touched, But I just think if Tank was throwing some fakes and really coming at this guy, I think he could have stopped this guy early, man. But hats off also to Boston for I think calling the actual round that Tank was gonna stop this kid, man. So y'all already know how I feel about Tank, man. Love the cat to death. Just reiterate what the casual one said about his performance, man. I no amplifying remarks, man.
Okay. Yeah. So Coach was looking at my script, so because I was about to say that, I did want to acknowledge Boston Jared. If it was we were all within the kind of margin of error, like as they say.
I originally was going to call 9. I think when Cam made me pick, I think somebody else had already said 9, so I waffled down to 8. But
we all chose between round 7 and 9 that we felt that Tank was gonna kind of.
That's the sweet spot for him. It seems like that last quarter, last third of the fight seemed like that's his. I mean, he got Hector Luis Garcia out of there in the 8th, I believe.
Luis Santa Cruz. Well, Luis Santa Cruz is around, I think, the 9th round. The one that was the latest was Barrios, I believe.
Barrios was like 11 or something like that. So yeah, that's a sweet spot for him. One thing I did like about this fight, and I was pretty skeptical about how this fight was going to play out. I thought it was going to be a staring contest for large stretches with feinting and guys getting in and out. Tank Davis made the decision from the opening round to go ahead and fight this dude and bang and just bang this dude. I'm gonna fight this dude. I'm not boxing this dude. I'm gonna fight him. You could tell he had no respect for Frank Martin's power.
No respect.
Zero respect for Frank Martin's power. He walked this guy down with no jab. And to Frank Martin's credit, I think that he executed the game plan that was going to be most successful for him. Because I also said last week, Gervonta Davis is better off of his back foot. So if I were Frank Martin, I'd put Gervonta Davis on his front foot, let him come to me because he's not as good defensively off of his front foot. He gets hit a lot off his front foot. Leo Santa Cruz lit him up off his front foot. Frank Martin was able to land a lot of shots. The problem is neither one of those guys, Leo Santa Cruz or Frank Martin, seemed to have enough pop to really get this kid's respect, man. And
so with that said, let me I want to kind of frame this this response from you. So one of the things I wanted to kind of situate this within his performance within the history of Tank Davis's performances, and like where do you see this as? And one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of state that is that I think that Frank Martin made a bit of one thing was in the corners, he didn't seem to, there was this panic look and this this kind of his body language. And so usually if you're the bigger, longer fighter, even if you're in a corner, right? My thoughts is that if you are getting away from punches, is that you lean back against the rope, right? So you make the guy reach and stuff like that. He's not catching you, and like
Frank, he was square. He was square on those ropes.
And he was dipping, right? So he was like dipping and all that. And then I think Tank Davis noticed that early on. Like I'm the shorter fighter, but I'm gonna you're dipping right into my uppercut, into my punches. And I think I thought it was gonna be because of the southpaws versus southpaw. I thought it was gonna be a right hook, but it ended up being that whipping left hook that really kind of set the stage for the knockout.
Yeah. It was the left hook. And again, when you're catching and blocking shots, this is why I get on some of these guys we talked about a few weeks ago when we talked about pound for pound. You have got to be able to make guys miss, especially power punches. You can only catch and block for so long, man. And that lead uppercut that Tank Davis tore through his guard with and set up that straight right left hand that slept him. He tried to catch it, which really makes you wonder about how solid of a chin that guy Pitbull Cruz had. Pitbull Cruz was catching all of those uppercuts on his gloves and on the top of his head.
But he was.
I mean,
his defense was, I think, very like if you slowed it down, he caught almost 80% of those uppercuts.
He did. That left uppercut that Tank tore through Frank Martin's guard with, though, man. That I mean, you could see it, and as soon as he hit him with that, the gloves went down. And if he weren't against those ropes, he probably would have gotten sat down off that shot, and he probably would be able to get up and continue. But those ropes, because he was squared up, those ropes held him up, and it was just a picturesque left hand from Tank Davis, man. The one thing I will say about Tank, man, this kid, as poised and as disciplined as he is and as committed and as confident as he is and sticking to that game plan and believing in his power, I really wonder, because he's down in that fight. I had him down. I had him winning 2 rounds going into that 8th round. He's down in that fight. And I just wonder if eventually that relying so much on your power is going to catch up with him. He's going to find himself down in the fight and not able to knock a guy out. Kind of almost what happened with Barrios, because he's down in that Barrios fight also, man. his output, he doesn't throw a lot of punches, man. I don't see. Well, we'll get there to who's up next. I just, if I'm being hypercritical of Tank, man, just doesn't throw a lot of punches. Seems to rely very, very, very heavily on that power of his, and it hasn't let him down yet. It hasn't let him down.
You're
yet.
not critical, man. You're not, bro. I'm always ready to daggone, bite you dead up in the scalp when you start talking.
Especially when it comes to Tank. Yeah.
When it comes to Tank, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But no, brother, honestly, man, that's not hypercritical, brother, because I would say the one thing that I would worry about in terms of him fighting any fighter, man, would be an evasive fighter like Shakur that can throw a lot of punches. They might be pity pat, but they would score. And I think, Shakur has that defensive savvy to survive possibly, a knockout. You know what I'm saying? And Tank with that slow start, I worry about him definitely being down in points against a fighter like Shakur, to be honest with you, man. You know what I'm saying? And just hope, I think Tank would bait Shakur a little bit more, but you're 100% right in saying that slow start has a solid potential of having him to lose a fight on points, man. So solid analysis, bro.
He can't play a game of chess with Shakur. He's not going to beat Shakur in a game of chess. He's got to fight Shakur. He's got to fight Shakur. The same thing he did with Tank with Frank Martin last night. If he does that to Shakur behind a jab, displaces Shakur early and gets him to move, then I think he can set up a knockout later on in that fight, if not win a convincing decision. Shakur is very, very, very savvy. Shakur is also very, very big for 135 pounds. And I think Tank Davis is very, very aware of how big Shakur is for 135 pounds, man. That is going to be a very, very, very tricky fight. The kid, Keyshawn Davis, as lukewarm as I am on him, I'm not sure how realistic that fight is right now. I mean, Keyshawn Davis is up there in the rankings. A Keyshawn Davis fight, Floyd Schofield fight, another big, strong kid for 135 pounds, man. And those guys can crack. Schofield's 3 in the WBA right now.
Tank doesn't care about that, man.
I don't give them the defensive savvy of Shakur, bro. Neither one of them.
You're right.
Not Keyshawn or Schofield, bro. Honestly, man, those are fighters.
Keyshawn get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah,
you said Keyshawn Davis will.
Yeah, Keyshawn get knocked out.
Sleep, bro. And the thing about Shakur's savviness that makes it different from Martin, is that Shakur would be pivoting left and right and not just retreating to a corner. So he has a better chance of keeping that thing in the center of the ring.
That's where the fight needs to be. Yes,
right, and that's
And let's be real. I mean, there's only 2 fights that we should be discussing right now
for Tank.
And that's Lomachenko or Stevenson at this point. I mean, this is
Loma's gonna get stopped.
He's going Loma going night.
Loma's going to sleep.
Loma don't have the power to keep him off of him.
Yeah, and we saw what happened when Loma gets in there with a guy with power. We saw what happened to Teofimo Stevenson. Teofimo Lopez fight. Well, this guy didn't start throwing punches until the 9th round of the fight.
But I mean, is he gonna have to worry about that with Tank? I mean, Loma still has some of the best feet in there. He's a savvy veteran. And listen, if Tank can do it, I'm not saying he can't. That's a feather in his cap. Lomachenko's never been stopped. He's only been down once.
Tank don't with him, bro.
My thing is Loma just don't have the power to keep Tank off of him.
Right.
And that's what it's going to boil down to. You can be slick, your feet can be fast, but if you can't stop Tank from coming forward, busting your ass.
Yeah. And like Cam said, I think Loma's feet can take him to the 9th or 10th round in that fight. Tank is going to have Loma working overtime, man. Loma is going to be moving and moving and moving. and moving, and when he don't respect your power, you see how he is, man. He'll take shots to give him. He'll walk through shots if he needs to. But look, look from a business standpoint, the Lomachenko fight makes the most sense. I'm not gonna knock. I'm not gonna knock Tank for a Lomachenko fight, and I've been on the record on this program saying that I don't think Loma has shown much sign of slippage. You know, they're gonna be detractors who will say, "Oh, well, he waited." And look, 36 is 36 in the sport of boxing, right? Lomachenko has fought as much as he's fought, but he hasn't shown the signs of slippage that I've seen with other guys his age. I think Tank deserves every single bit of credit. The same credit he gets for beating Lomachenko next, if that fight happens next, is the same credit he should have gotten 5 years ago. I don't think that Loma has shown much slippage at all, and he will get stopped in that
It's
fight.
been some, but listen, Loma's been the only person that stopped Cambosos, who fought Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. I mean, well, yeah, I mean, excuse me, not, but he wasn't stopped by Teofimo Lopez, and he dropped Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds. Devin Haney, even though he put a whooping on him, wasn't able to stop him. Like Teofimo Lopez just destroyed this dude. I mean, he's looked like minced meat after the fight. His pops came up in there, so I think that
Teofimo destroyed who?
What's that?
You said Teofimo destroyed who?
Well, not I mean, Lomachenko destroyed
Cambosos.
Cambosos. Excuse me. So I think that Lomachenko has a better than kind of a puncher's chance. He's not necessarily like a puncher, but I think that he can, at least for the early rounds, he can turn that into a chess match, and which is what you don't want to see from somebody like that. I mean, that's the only way that he wins that fight, is there's some way he's able to kind of turn this into high speed chess with Tank, because if Tank just goes forward and plays bully in a sense like that, I think that he'll be able to wreck Lomachenko. But I don't mind that fight, and I think I agree with Boston Jared. I think that he should, not particularly if he just wins, but if he stops Lomachenko, I think that he should receive credit for that fight.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just because we want to keep these segments rolling, we're gonna jump into our next segment, which is your boy David, the Mexican Monster Benavidez.